come undisputed and things like that, but once he got it, he like, basically like, what the hell? And that's, you can see with Floyd too. Floyd really was like that too.
As Lamont Roach and Gervonta Tank Davis prepare for their lightweight title bout on March 1st, the most unexpected visitor interrupted them while they were on media responsibilities.
1, 2, 3. Good stuff.
Unexpectedly, Floyd Mayweather walked in and interrupted the meeting between the two and their staff to do some publicity and promotional work for the fight. In contrast, Gervonta Tank Davis was prepared for the altercation, and the two got into a fight. The two managed to lay hands on each other despite everyone's best efforts to break them up, with Floyd getting the last laugh after. Pushing Gervonta Davis, the two have not met in person since their altercation in April of last year. It all started when Floyd Mayweather criticized boxers for being too preoccupied with luxuries rather than honing their craft in an interview with Fight Hype. It became so bad that Mayweather made fun of the Baltimore champion, lied about Gervonta Davis's battle, and included Shakur Stevenson.
Those are lifetime losses. And you know, as long as you know you went out there and gave it 100% in that square circle, if you know you gave it 100% and you happy with what you did when you went out there, then that's what it is.
What it is.
Worst of all, Floyd Mayweather behaved in a way that was out of character for a boxing great, in addition to siding against Davis in his most recent bout. He thought that his Instagram post about the fight being canceled wasn't sufficient because he was so consumed with Gervonta Davis's defeat. Additionally, he provided Frank Martin some advice on how to defeat Tank Davis and forecasted a battle. That was obviously a 50-50 game for Davis. His rivalry with Gervonta Davis became so heated this time that he called Frank Martin, Davis's opponent, in private and provided him advice on how to defeat Tank Davis. We don't know if Floyd's instructions weren't sufficient or if it was ignored. On fight night, though, Frank Martin lost the 8th round after 1 minute and 49 seconds, after appearing to put on a strong performance in the first several rounds. Gervonta Davis gave him the 30th victory of his career after a crushing strike. Knocked him flat on the canvas.
Davis.
The true issue, however, wasn't even there, involving Floyd Mayweather, who had obviously been at conflict with Davis and had sparked one of the most legendary mentor versus protege feuds in recent history, was the true problem. In an attempt to get revenge on Gervonta Davis for treating him disrespectfully, Frank Martin disclosed in one of his several pre-fight interviews that Floyd Mayweather had assisted him in some way before to the bout.
Race guys, so what was being around talking to Floyd? Like, what has Floyd taught you about fighting? And has it made you a better fighter? Because he could tell me all day to do that shit he does.
When the Ghost, Martin disclosed that he had been getting assistance from Floyd Mayweather, the former mentor and promoter of Gervonta Davis, it surprised boxing professionals and fans. Gervonta Tank Davis maintained his WBA title as the lightweight pair squared off in the ring on June 15th at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what does being around a guy like Floyd do for you?
He could tell you, go run at 2 in the morning. You know, go do it when...
There was a lot of trash talk developing between the two, as was to be expected. Nevertheless, Gervonta Davis was a clear favorite coming into the bout. However, challenger Frank Martin disclosed the Mike Tyson-style coaching Floyd Mayweather had been providing him to obtain the upper hand against Davis during an appearance on the Pivot podcast, which was posted on YouTube prior to the bout.
Thing is, I've always been there for him from day one. We had a game plan, and my game plan was to help him become world champion.
Martin acknowledged that he felt special after getting guidance from Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather has since retaliated against those who are criticizing him. I support anybody I feel like and do what I want to do. How does that constitute a crime? Why should Frank come see me for advice? What's wrong with me, you guys? I would also counsel Tank if he came. Despite their divorce and other disagreements over the years, Mayweather had stood by Davis, and Davis had generally always respected the former world champion. But after the Davis-Martin battle, alliances undoubtedly shifted.
Become world champion and take things to that next level. And I've always been there for him. And just over the years, you can see I've always been positive, always said great things about him, always pushed him to be great.
Particularly in light of Tank and Mayweather's highly publicized internet sparring match from last month. Martin responded as follows when asked if he had picked up any knowledge from Mayweather prior to the fight. The Detroit, Michigan native stated, "He could tell you, man, go run at 2 in the morning because 9 times out of 10, we know your opponent is sleeping at that time." Martin clarified that he didn't really need to train during those hours, but that doing so would provide him with a psychological advantage over his rival. These are the little things that make a big difference in the end. Martin made it clear that he already knew it, but it meant something to hear it from someone like Floyd, who had achieved the pinnacle of the sport.
Your opponent sleep at that time. So go run at 2 in the morning and go give yourself a mental edge, cause you out there working every night at 2 in the morning running.
You are going to take a lot of heed to it, and it's going to give you a different type of motivation when you do it, Martin said. Even if a fighter may not be able to replicate Floyd's moves exactly, he noted, it will give you a new kind of confidence. It's interesting to note that Mike Tyson used to do just that before fights in order to give himself a mental advantage over his rivals. His success as the youngest heavyweight champion and eventual undisputed champion is understandable. Among the things Mike Tyson did to get an advantage over his rivals were cutting wood and running at 3 in the morning. But on fight night, Gervonta Davis carried out his strategy, despite Tyson's training regimen and Floyd's counsel. On fight night, Davis, who had just been laid off for a year because of a hit-and-run case in 2022 that resulted in him spending 90 days in a Baltimore prison, won by knockout in the 8th round.
He claims on X that your fight was canceled the last couple of weeks.
He's the one told Frank that I was running at 5 o'clock.
His skills in the ring were unaffected by the gap in his resume. In his most recent match, which took place in April of last year, Davis overcame Ryan Garcia and easily trounced Frank Martin. In fact, after the two sparred on social media before Davis's bout with Frank Martin, Mayweather encouraged his followers to watch UFC instead. Michael Benson, a well-known boxing reporter, posted,
Friday, he told Frank that he was giving Frank the tips and stuff like that.
Really? How do you know that? Just word of mouth?
I seen.
After Mayweather trolled Tank by claiming that the Frank Martin fight had been canceled, he and Gervonta Davis continued their battle. Tank answered, "Keep talking and I'll pull up to your house and lay hands on you." In an interview following the bout, boxing sensation Davis disclosed that Mayweather had attempted to give his opponent advice on how to defeat him. Davis went on to brutally knock out Martin on Saturday. He was giving Frank advice and other things, but I was certain that wouldn't be enough to defeat me. It's okay. It's cool. I don't give it much thought. You understand what I mean when I say that he will not harm me. Having a disagreement with him is preferable to being cool with him.
People drive by while I was running.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they were like spying her, kind of?
No.
Additionally, Davis disclosed that Frank was informed by Floyd Mayweather that he was running at 5 in the morning. Gervonta Davis once mentioned Floyd Mayweather's name among his peers and stated that he would be willing to face him in the ring. When Najee from Cigar Talk brought up the beef with Mayweather in an interview with Davis, the Baltimore native had a significant reaction. Many people are unaware of Floyd's activities. I was certain that I was the target of his attack. I went after him for that reason. In reference to Mayweather's opening remarks, Davis remarked, "There's no reason for me to go at Floyd."
Oh, okay.
Closed at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. They saw that while I was running. But I knew for sure that wasn't going to be me.
When Najee pointed out that over the years,
Davis categorically denied that he and Mayweather had a love-hate relationship. Rather, he asserted that he had outperformed Floyd's legacy. "I'm about at that point where I have passed him, and I am doing it at a young age," Tank remarked. Davis wasn't finished demonstrating his case, though, as he disclosed a new contract. He had inked, implying that it was even larger than Floyd Mayweather's 2013 $200 million Showtime agreement.